Please welcome Rob Nilsson, the director of Signal 7, to the stage. I realized you wrote some of the lyrics for one of the songs, or a few of the songs, right? Do you want to talk about that at first, maybe?
What, singing mean songs? Yeah, I wrote some lyrics. But that was, it was Les McCann and Andy Norell. Yeah, I didn't much like those lyrics. But I did write them on lyrics, I have to admit. This was a painful screening, I have to say. At the beginning, I could hardly understand any of the words. I started to catch it in the middle, though, and then I started to feel that I was back in the heart of the film. But so I'm kind of shaky at the moment.
Okay.
But go ahead, ask questions.
Yeah, like writing the script with the cast, and when you... Okay. You take this one. Can you talk about how you found the main two taxicab drivers, how you casted them, and why you selected them for those roles?
Well, we had an organization called, what was it called? Whatever it was called, we had an acting workshop. Cine Manifest was the name of our group. We got together to try to make movies about everyday people in the spirit of Cassavetes, De Sica, some of the French New Wave, the Cinema Novo in Brazil, trying to bypass by all means the entertainment business, which is such an awful kind of slight to people that brings them down, and people become stars and wealthy, and the people still remain the people. And that's what I'm interested in, what I've always been interested in. So we opened the streets, we opened the doors to people who might want to come in and join with us, and that's how I found them. If I look back and was maybe more specific, I might have seen this person or that person in a play or whatever. But Bill and Dan were part of a workshop. And it's kind of for all. Our workshops have always been for all comers, for free workshops for the mutual exploration of the way things seem to be. That's really all that matters to me in the pursuit of this stuff.
So you did the workshops and attended one for about 15 years, right?
Yeah, about 12, I think. Yeah, it was South of Market and in the Tenderloin. And yes, my brother had been missing, and as a matter of fact, I actually found my brother homeless, diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic, missing for years. He showed up in LA, and we got him up, and he actually became a workshop member when we were South of Market with Rand Crook and Ethan Singh with Pacific Rim Media. And so yes, we opened our doors. I wasn't an acting teacher. I didn't have any idea how to run a workshop, but I figured it out from my experiences with yoga, with karate, with Reichian therapy, and Reichian ideas about the health of powerful emotion, be it joy, rage, despair, intimate connection, whatever it is, the health, to be able to welcome it, to know it, to go through its pain, and to experience its joy, that you're totally alive. And that was the whole idea of the workshop, to bring people together around that general idea, people from the streets or from wherever. And through that we made the Night at Night series of films. I made about 45 films now, and this was the second or third. And most of them have been improvisational and based on the lives of the people who came. We didn't necessarily know what the movies would be often, and we'd find out what the movies were through the workshop exercises. thoughts would come, arrive, because of who did what, or in what exercise, or in what kind of communal discussions that we would have. These were 3-4 hour sessions once a week for that period of time.
And you would often work with people who were unhoused or homeless or SRO, hotel denizens,
Yeah.
and really allow them to integrate like their own story, their own personality, everything into
Yeah.
the workshop and the roles.
By and large, what they had to say and what they lived was far more interesting than anything I could have dreamed up in the, wherever. I mean, I can write, I have written screenplays and done that, but the real knowledge that I gained was from those streets and those people. And the Night at Night series, I think, is I'm most proud of that. Very proud of this, but unfortunately the sound was really kind of not making it at the beginning, so I kind of got lost some of my.
I think we turned it up around
Yeah, I think
after about 10 or 12 minutes.
Yeah, John usually has a good idea. I wondered if we could have rolled off some of the top and allowed for a little bit more bass. But anyway, let me not get on that.
So you shot it on video, and the plan was to blow it up to film. Even still shooting with video, what were some of the challenges? Filming in the taxi cabs around the streets of San Francisco and trying to stage, the action. Do you recall any really, obstacles during the shooting or during the performances?
Well, this was the first feature film shot shot on VHS, low quality video. But around the time that when we shot this, we were trying to raise $1 million for a movie called On the Edge. And we finally, which ended up with Bruce Dern and Ben Greer and John Marley and all that. But in the middle of doing it, we said, why are we doing this? This thing of traveling the country, trying to raise money. We're not going to go to Hollywood. They don't give a damn about who we are, what we do. And we said, we have to make a movie. We have to be creators. And so we pulled together the workshop and went to town. I forget your question.
Do you remember like any really hard day? You only shot the film for 3 days, right?
It's so intense, so there. You're not sitting around with 5,000 people waiting for them all to do their job and stuff. You're just a tiny crew running through the streets, finding things as you go. I'm probably overemphasizing that, but that's the part of it. It's not joy in that way. It's a very arduous joy, I have to say. But if it's not joy, why are you doing it? What value does it have to the world if you're not bringing these guys? They're lying. They're trying to impress each other. They're trying to be big shots in some sense. They have this sense of themselves, and yet they also know that they're phonies, and they're willing to admit it, and they're willing to come into contact in the strangest ways with the ways they've been fooling each other and fooling themselves. And to me, it's so incredibly moving when people see how where the riches really are and how to reach them. So it's agony and ecstasy, of course, running around like we were doing, and we were out there in probably dangerous terrain. No one ever did anything to us. No one stopped us. We'd be shooting in these alleys in the middle of the night, where most people would never go even during the day. I don't know, it was beautiful though.
The film, like for me, it's like masculine identity. It's like these guys getting older. They're trying to come to terms with their like mortality and their sense of community with their coworkers. And it's like, hanging out in the break room, some gambling, and then telling stories. And it still feels, even though it's from the 1980s, it still feels like a movie that, says a lot about people that are aging. And these aren't, like you said, they're not movie stars. They're not like these handsome model kind of performers.
Like all of us. We're trying to make sense of it. And not only every generation, it's every individual goes through the joys and the sorrows. And as Yuval Noah Harari says, the best definition of people is that they're sufferers. And out of suffering, you get as far as you can towards I guess you could call it the light, whatever you want to do. But if you're not down there, if you're not willing to recognize it in yourself, and that's really all I was doing. I'm seeing them, and we're seeing each other, and we're trying to solve things and find things together. It was a wonderful cadre of people that came together and we were somehow able to lie and tell the truth and do all the things that people do. I think pretty well. There are some things I've changed, but anyway.
You were a taxi cab driver yourself for about 3 years, was it, in Boston?
In Boston, yeah. I got beat up and luckily I wasn't killed, robbed and stuff. I met my wife there, and that was wonderful. And so to me, that's where we should be going, into the, I'm generally speaking not all that interested in wealthy people, and why is that? Because they've surrounded themselves with foam, with their wealth, with their possibilities of being somehow above it all. Not that they're not interested inside, but what they do to protect themselves is create these mansions and they become stars and everything. And then they're no longer really suffering.
How do you, over the years you've made so many films and you've worked with Bruce Stern, Pam Grier, how have you approached the temptation to just write a Hollywood script and want to cast the contemporary stars and make a lot of money, then make one for yourself, like an independent film after that? Have you ever dealt with that?
I've done so. I mean, I have written scripts all along. It was a script for On the Edge, and also I don't want to be knocking people like Stacy Keach, who can improvise and work from Shakespeare and work from anywhere and make you weep. And really fine players like that are established actors or not established, whatever they are. I'm not inherently against anything that feels real, but it almost never feels real for me when you're trying to reproduce rather than produce. Find it in the moment. Now there it is. Now you can hear it. You can feel it. And the director, me, is listening, knowing it's not perfect. It's not going to be. This is an editor's medium after all. It's not going to be perfect, but when I can see through long extended improvs, there's something there I can use. See this. I see I can do it, and I can call it, but it's never perfect. With a script, it's so different. It's so with a great player, or of course, people have to be able to be relaxed everywhere in order to also be tensed when they need it to be, and scream when you need to do it, and when you weep, all of that. But it starts with relaxation and just simply being, finding a way to know what that is. It's like going to sleep. People that can't sleep, they learn from various methods to how to relax your body. And that's one of the exercises we had in the workshop. It's the second exercise. The first actually the first exercise is starting at the bottoms of your feet. The lights are out. You're lying flat on the ground. Everybody there, could be 30 people, could be 3, and you just start to concentrate on the bottoms of your feet. And then you bring that concentration up to the tops of your feet. And then you bring it along the sides. And now you start to pull it up into your ankles and all the way up. And at the end, a lot of people fell asleep in the workshop. But now at least if they had any sleep problems, they know what to do. I get off on these things, but that's what it's about. It's about getting off on things and exploring them and seeing if you can make something that. See, I don't do it for an audience. I never do. I'm never thinking, will you like it or will you like it? No, I have to see, do I like it? Can I bear it? Can I exist with it? That's why at the beginning it was so painful because I couldn't feel it. But I think that isn't that what we all want out of art?
I think so. And you started with poetry and painting before making films, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what.
I think that's what we're trying to get to, and art, if it's not trying to do that, even if it is, for example, my favorite painter is Jenny Saville, and Jenny Saville's severely powerful, dark force so oftentimes, but I know why she's doing it. I can feel the joy, rage, despair, everything in it. She's saying, see, we suffer, but there's beauty in it, and it can be constructed in a way, like Francis Bacon or Lucian Freud. It can be constructed so we can maybe be some kind of not an instructor but an inspirer of the totality of the darks and lights of people. That's why anyway. Good.
You've made films around the world in a similar collaborative style, like in the countries, Japan, Jordan, South Africa.
Yeah.
Was there any difference in maybe the way they responded in those workshops versus in America?
No difference. Of course, they came with their cultural baggage, but when I got there, I had to find out one kind of place where that was already there. What am I going to be bringing to Jordan, a place I've never been to? And once I find that, in that case, it turned out to be a youth conference where young boys and girls were coming together in this conference. But there was a whole thing about, well, boys and girls together, much more severe than most places because it's an Islamic country. And once I saw that struggle was living out in front of our eyes because of some of the ways in which the separation of the sexes was going on. And these were young students that I was working with, and they knew that they understood the pressures of it, even if they didn't know how to solve it or to know in a full philosophical way what they were facing. But it was a little thing, and I only had a week, so I went with that. And then every time I found something like that was already present, and we fashioned together around it because we were all engaged in it. I'm engaged in watching it, they're engaged in living it, having to worry about where the boys are going to go and where the girl's going to go under certain circumstances. So you find it in life, and then you start to try to build with it. Yeah, so no, it was the same in every place.
I have some more questions, but I want to let anybody, if they have a question, they can ask them. You have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, not necessarily. I have a bunch of stuff. I don't want to monopolize anything. You said that it was made in 3 days. Is that true, Rob? Did you film this?
Single 7, 3 days?
It was 4 days.
I had no idea. Wow, that was amazing. Yeah.
Well, originally I wanted to do it in 2, and we needed equipment and stuff. Wow. So we went to this San Francisco production group or company, and we said we wanted to do it in 2 days. I said, no, that's crazy. I said, well, no, but I think I've got this workshop and everything. He said, okay, we'll do it in 4 days.
4 days? I mean, you didn't do any of the 9 at night ones in 4 days. It was amazing.
That's right. We spent more time.
Much more time. I think it meant even more to me watching it now than when it had first come out, because it's so full of things that we've lost in the meantime, lost from the city, lost in movie making and stuff like that. So I think it had an even bigger impression on me today. But
really?
I just thought it was incredible. I thought the acting was amazing, unbelievable. I really, sincerely mean that.
I call it being.
It wasn't.
Could you understand it at the beginning?
Yes, see, I think that some of it was it's a little bit echoey in here, and you're sitting.
But
a
you were
little
able
bit-
to understand?
Yeah.
Were
At
you
the
able to
very-
understand?
In the very beginning, it's sort of like.
It's
And
so-
to tune my ears. but
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
foreign
it's just-
language.
Yeah, you tune your ears.
But very soon I could understand and stuff, so yeah, I think some of it was just the echoiness and you were
Could you
sitting
hear
closer
them?
to that.
Yeah. Well, I had asked Son, to be honest, I said, should we turn it up a little bit more, about 10 minutes into it?
Yeah.
Well, and I'm not
And I
even
think
sure
that
it was
helps.
I think
volume.
it did.
I think it was the differentiation, that's why I think it might have been a problem with echoiness or something like that. Because to me, it wasn't necessarily that it needed to be louder at any point, I think it was probably people, it felt like they were talking over each other, so you wanted that ability to get and differentiate who's saying what and so on. But very soon, within a couple
Oh, I'm so glad
seconds,
to
I
hear
could.
that,
Yeah, no, it was great. And in the very beginning, when you couldn't, it was just the atmosphere of it. And very Cassavetes
Like the
in that
buzz,
sense.
the conversation, kind of like a Robert Altman.
That
Had that
made the
overlapping
environment.
conversation, just
Yeah.
people going back and forth.
You
And,
got to
All
just-
the guys
Yeah,
are very-
yeah, interrupting each other and just background
And you
noise.
wouldn't have not wanted them to, because that was the point of how they were gathered.
Mm.
You know, that was it. It was that space at the table. So, yeah, I didn't have a problem with that.
Oh, I'm very glad.
When I
I'm using them.
When I first saw the film, the eggshell scene, when the casting director is really telling him, like, when you go home tonight, I want you to do this exercise, I cried. Like, that was such a beautiful, and you can see tears in the casting director's eyes
Yeah.
as he's explaining it.
Yeah, that was Bob Elross, who was married to the casting director, the great San Francisco Owens. Yeah, been about 10 years too many for remembering stuff. But Bob Elross is now gone. But we had somebody else that was going to do that, and that day they said I can't show up, so I had to call Bob, and he came in like that.
It was wonderful.
And he just rolled with that thing. And it's just, that's just all he did. I couldn't tell him how to do it.
Was that one take? That
I can't, well, you always shoot coverage.
yeah.
And pretty much, I think I probably cut it down a little bit, yeah. But he just rolled because, of course, he was a stage director. He was with the original group theater as a kid. And so he was the real deal. No, tell me the name. What's the name of the woman at the bar and on the edge who's telling him he's got to go see his father?
Jane,
Usually Jean can remember.
Jane Hilton.
What's that?
Jane Hilton, yeah?
No.
Yeah. I will give it.
I don't know.
Anyway, let's not get wrong.
Oh, she has a theatrical school in San
Yes, she had
Francisco.
an acting school.
Jean
Jean
Sheldon.
Sheldon. There you
That's
go.
Jean.
Thank you.
Who's also not with us any longer, but still, yeah, Gene Shelton, yeah.
Jean Sheldon,
Before we go, I wanted to touch on the movie Chalk. Skip to 1996. Rob made this film about pool hall hustlers in Richmond, California. It takes
yeah.
place,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And used like a real like billiard pro guys that shoot pool all the time. And could you talk a little bit about that movie? I mean, there's some similar filmmaking techniques that you used in Chalk, similar to Signal 7, right?
Yeah, well, that movie came out of the Tenderloin Action Group, the first of the two groups that I put together along with friends in South of Market and in the Tenderloin. In Tenderloin, we met at the Faithful Fools Street Ministry for about 4 or 5 years. So that was initially I'd written a screenplay called Hope for the Fourth Ace, and I had Danny Glover and Sam Jackson, Whoopi Goldberg, and Armand Asante all ready to do it. And so we created this workshop from people from the street to pull, because it's about a homeless guy that lives in an alley, and every day he goes and buys a lottery ticket, the little cheap ones. They're scratch-offs. And if he scratches off, and if it's a bad number, he scratches another one. And if that's a bad number, eventually he throws it away. But if he scratches the first one and it's an ace, puts it in his pocket because it means hope, hope for the fourth ace. And the fourth ace is a big payoff. And anyway, we had this wonderful cast. Right then there was a blip in the stock market, and I made the terrible error of having somebody else go down and try to raise the money. And while I was making another movie and all of that, I'd never do that. It's such a selfish thing to do, because you know, if you believe in it, you have to stand up and be upfront with it. So we had a workshop, and so Don Bima and I and we started to think about what to do, and we came up with this idea, and we had wonderful people from the streets and all over the place, and we crafted this film around their lives and what they could do and what they had already shown us in the workshops, thinking that there wasn't going to be a movie. Now there was a movie, and that's another whole long story. But a lot of adventures in that. That's for maybe another day.
And these days, you just launched your new website, which has your films. It's got all your art. RobNilssonArtforms.com.
Yes.
Do you want to say anything about that
Yes,
before
I
we
do.
go?
I do. Support it, please. Please, even if you don't want to buy anything. We have a wonderful thing called the Immersive Voyage, which is a surreal way of trying to describe the process that goes through you and everyone when we create. It's a surrealist vision of realist movies. And please, even if you don't want to buy anything or rent anything, there's 45 films up there. There's about 500 pieces of art, 2 or 3 of my books, and some of my articles and stuff. And it's please support it, and better than and tell your friends, because here's my thought. There's no one now on earth, with all these people that came to the workshops around the world, everybody who got paid bupkis to do it. And we did it together as friends and as companions. And now all of them can see any film they want. If they're living in Antarctica, they can see what they did in Need or one of the. So it's so important to me that we got it out finally. And beyond that, it would be nice to raise a little dough so maybe some of that dough can come back to the people who did so much for so little, including Mickey. We got to get him paid.
Wow. Any words of encouragement for, filmmakers out there or artists still trying to make stuff right now?
Film what you know or what you need to know. Go in as deep as you can bear, and don't worry about the entertainment industry. Think about Hermano Olmi, the filmmaker who did Tree of Wooden Clogs. He went to live with the peasants in northern Italy, and he lived with them, and he created one of the great films of all times that nobody knows about. It's called Tree of Wooden Clogs. All of them, not a single person that was not one of those people from that area. They're all the real folks, and they are so incredibly brilliant. And he's not into, I'm going to go in and get a close-up on this. No, he doesn't need to. You see the little girls and the little boys running around, they'll come into the frame and then they'll go out, but they're so real. Everything in it just makes you ache with the beauty of life when it's lived with some kind of foundation of joy, rage, despair, intimate connection, and whatever else we have. Please, young filmmakers, go and watch films like that, make films like that, from where you live, and from what you know or hope to know or are starting to know.
Thank you. Well said, Rob. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. I appreciate having you here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for hanging in there, Rob.
Thanks a lot.